Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are looking at something pretty extraordinary. We've been given some incredibly rich material on a project called Docuplay.
It really is. It's aiming to completely reshape how we think about education, industry, and even economic development on a global scale.
Exactly. And the mission for us today is to get a quick but thorough grasp on what makes it tick. We need to unpack the structure, the tech,
Yeah.
all the components that Docuplay claims make it this unique edu-industrial platform.
And it's definitely framed as a transformative vision, not just, a small improvement. Docuplay is positioned as a solution to some massive global problems.
Like what, specifically?
Well, the big one is outdated vocational training. There's this huge gap, right, between what you learn in a classroom and what an industry actually needs. Docuplay seems designed to close that gap.
Right, and it's not just a new app or two. The material suggests a total structural overhaul, and this whole thing is built on what they call the dodecagon.
The Dodecagon, 12 key innovative American pillars.
It sounds a little intimidating, but what's fascinating, and you pointed this out, is that Docuplay didn't invent all 12 things from scratch.
No, not at all. It's more of a synthesis. They've systematically integrated these established, proven American systems with brand new technology. And that blend is what they hope gives it both global scale and local relevance right out of the gate.
Okay, so let's start with the tech foundation, the dodecagon's first three pillars. This is the high-tech trio. It starts with 3D printing. And, we often think of 3D printing as maybe a cool thing for a classroom, a novelty. But how is Docuplay using it to build this global factory vision?
It's really about completing the entire production loop. So the 3D pillar isn't just for show. It's for additive manufacturing, for rapid prototypes.
So making things quickly.
Exactly. Imagine a student or maybe an employee uses generative AI, and we'll get to that in a second, to design a new part. With this system, they can immediately translate that digital design into a real, tangible object.
An instantaneous materialization of an idea.
Pretty much. And here's where it gets really integrated. The material mentions that these 3D printers will often use bioplastics.
Okay.
And those bioplastics are derived directly from research that comes out of another part of the project, the biodiversity program. So you're instantly connecting digital design, sustainable R&D, and actual physical production. That's the core of the global factory idea.
That's a very tight loop. Okay, that makes sense. Let's move to the second pillar, 5G, the network backbone. Why is this so critical that it gets to be its own pillar?
Because anything that happens in real time depends on it. 5G provides two essential things: massive connectivity for the Internet of Things and minimal latency.
So no lag.
Right. Think about their competitive learning groups, the DocuLeagues, or these virtual labs they describe. They all rely on synchronous real-time interaction.
Okay, and what about the companies involved?
Well, when a partner company registers its IoT devices, their sensors, their products, those devices can interact in real time inside the platform's virtual simulations. You absolutely need the security and speed of 5G for that massive environment to work flawlessly.
So 5G enables true experimentation, not just clicking through a simulation.
Exactly. And that leads us to the most complex piece of the tech trio: artificial intelligence.
Right, and Docuplay doesn't just use one kind of AI. The material outlines three distinct forms. It feels very deliberate.
It's a tiered approach, like an evolution. It's meant to take us through Industry 4.0 and then move beyond it.
So what's the first type?
First up is Gen AI, or generative AI. This is the one most people are familiar with now. It's for generating content, creating text. It's what completes their vision of Industry 4.1 by personalizing the whole learning experience for each student.
The content creator and the personal tutor, all in one.
You got it. Then we level up to the next phase, Agent AI.
Agentic AI.
And what's the difference? These are proactive. They don't just generate, they act. They can make decisions based on real-world inputs from sensors or based on what other AI agents in the system are doing. This active decision-making layer, that's what Docuplay calls the beginning of Industry 4.2.
Okay, so from generating to acting. And the third type, leadering agent AI. What's its job in this industrial evolution?
The leadering agent AI is a force multiplier. Its entire focus is on creating and deploying all the other types of AI agents and doing it rapidly. Its purpose is purely organizational.
To build the AI workforce, essentially.
Yes, to ensure that Industry 4.2 becomes a true edo industry. It means education and industry are seamlessly generating and training the same intelligent entities. It's what powers the whole automation pillar.
Okay, the tech is clear. Let's shift gears. Now we get into how Docuplay organizes all this information. We're moving from cutting-edge tech to, well, library science. DDC, SIC, and GNS.
And this is where the strategy of using existing American infrastructure becomes, I think, brilliant. They use the DDC, the Dewey Decimal Classification, as the universal framework for knowledge.
From the library.
From every library. And because DDC is recognized globally, it means that all the learning programs have this kind of inherent global recognition baked in from the start.
The material mentions it organizes courses as an inverted pyramid. What does that actually mean for a student?
It's a model for getting to mastery fast. A normal pyramid builds up from a narrow base. An inverted one starts broad. You get a taste of the whole DDC taxonomy, and then you specialize. You go deep into a specific field based on what you need. It's how they can adapt courses from a basic level to something highly specialized.
And the SIC, the Standard Industrial Classification, that brings the companies back into the picture.
Precisely. The SIC is used to structure their Program 1 courses, categorizing everything by industry type. And this is the crucial part. Most company databases all over the world already use SIC.
So it's a common language.
It's a common language. It becomes the simplest way for Docuplay to find and integrate the right companies to enrich each specific course with real-world problems and data.
So DDC for knowledge, SIC for industry. What about geography?
That's where GNIS comes in, the Geographic Names Information System. It's mapped over 16 million toponyms, basically every named place in the U.S., populated or not. And those places become the literal course material for 2 of Docuplay's main programs.
The map becomes the textbook.
In a way, yes. It provides a geographical anchor for everything. And then, to ensure the quality of the content itself, they pull from USA.gov.
As the foundational source of information.
Right. Millions of files from a reliable U.S. government portal. It's a strategic choice. It reinforces this idea of American cultural leadership, or soft power, by ensuring the foundational knowledge is accurate and high quality.
Okay, let's wrap up the Dodecagon. The last few pillars are about communication and economics, and it's a little surprising to see things like WhatsApp and Zoom on this foundational list.
I think their inclusion just highlights how much this is all built on accessibility. These are the tools that drive learning through debates, chats, and the WhatsApp is especially critical for Program 3.
The field research one.
Yeah. Subscribers out in the field can send back rich data photos, videos, notes about species they find using just their phone. It completely democratizes scientific data collection.
And the final 2 pillars tie the whole local to global vision together. The ZIP code and NASDAQ.
The ZIP code is, I think, arguably the most brilliant organizational piece here. It defines the boundaries of the local consortia, which is the next thing we should talk about. It's the literal foundation of their global strategy.
And NASDAQ.
NASDAQ is the end game for funding. Listing there is the plan for getting the massive financial resources they'd need to roll this out internationally at the speed they're aiming for.
Okay, so we've laid the foundation. Now let's look at the architecture. That ZIP code mechanism you mentioned that leads directly to these techs and PIs.
Yeah.
This is where it gets really interesting for community impact.
Absolutely. The local part of the global model is rooted entirely in the ZIP code. That's where you find the techs, the trifaceted educational consortia.
And that's formed by companies and schools.
That share the exact same postal code. It's a hyper-local strategy. It's all about proximity.
And trifaceted education. What does that mean in practice for a student?
It means you're getting 3 types of learning at once, right in your community. You get the digital online learning from the Docuplay platform.
Okay.
The theoretical in-person learning at your local school or college, and the practical, hands-on, experimental learning at a local company. It creates this complete vocational training hub right at the neighborhood level.
Like a modern apprenticeship, almost.
It's a very modern apprenticeship, yeah. And it's designed to boost the local economy. But of course, Docuplay still needs global scale.
Which is where the PICs come in, the Pentafaceted Industrial Consortium.
Right. PICs operate on a global level. They specialize in certain products, certain services, and they might span across hundreds of ZIP codes, even across countries. They exist to get economies of scale to be competitive.
So the PICs are the global specialists, and they rely on the local techs to supply the trained workforce.
You've got it. The whole system is designed to feed into itself.
So let's talk about the benefits for everyone involved. For a company, this seems like it's way more than just a training program. What's the real incentive for them to join?
The incentives are huge, and they go right to the bottom line. Sure, they train their employees more efficiently, But they can also advertise their products inside the actual course content. They can even get paid if their real-world sensors or products are used in the virtual labs.
Oh, that's interesting.
But the biggest draw is probably the ability to monetize RNG that comes out of the training.
Oh.
If an employee studying a Docuplay course develops a new process or invents something patentable,
The company owns it.
exactly, they are literally turning staff development into a revenue-generating R&D department.
And the subscription is about future-proofing their staff.
Precisely. Yeah. It gets their employees pre-trained in what they call AI GPT, the generative and transformative AI, so their people are ready for Industry 4.2 before it even fully arrives.
And for the schools, the educational centers, what's in it for them?
Visibility, status. Of course, they get to promote their name and attract good students. But the big thing is their ranking in the Super PSAs.
That's a new term.
It is. These are collective rankings based on the statistical average of how their students are performing within the Docuplay system. The platform tracks everything. So high performance by your students means a higher public standing for your institution.
And you mentioned consulting firms earlier. They seem to be the ones actually building this out.
They're the implementation arm, yeah. A consulting firm that joins the Docuplay consortium is positioned for some serious industry leadership. They get access to a flood of new clients and guaranteed revenue from managing these massive, complex projects like biodiversity or the global factory.
Which brings us to the money, the financial model. Docuplay claims this incredible potential, even saying its model is superior to something like Facebook. How?
It comes down to diversification. They've identified 4 massive, highly innovative income streams. This is very different from competitors who, mostly just rely on advertising.
Okay, so what's stream number 1?
Number 1 is education. Simple enough. They plan to offer the highest quality education at the lowest possible cost. The model relies on achieving massive volume because it's so accessible.
Makes sense. Number 2?
Automation. This comes directly from that Industry 4.2 idea. They'll sell groups of tailored AI agents to companies at what they claim will be unbeatable prices.
Agents created by that leading agent AI we talked about.
That's the one. Third is reindustrialization. This revenue stream is based on all the innovation that comes out of their specialized scientific and technical programs. New products, new services, all generating income.
And the 4th stream, you mentioned it was biodiversity.
Right. They call it completion biodiversity.
Right.
And this is about monetizing the immense amount of research generated by Program 3 and its related courses.
Okay, but how do you turn a deficit of knowledge about animal species into a massive, reliable economic engine? That seems like a big leap.
It's a bold idea. The biodiversity program basically tries to turn that knowledge gap into a huge opportunity. They use those 12 million toponyms from GNIS, the uninhabited places, as course areas. Subscribers are then incentivized to go out, research, document the animal, vegetal, and mineral kingdoms.
And send the data back with their phone.
Exactly. It's industrial-scale citizen science.
So what's the economic part?
All of that data gets collected and analyzed. The goal is to, 1, create an ecological mindset. But 2, and this is the key, it's to identify new natural resources for industry, new materials, new compounds. That research then feeds back into the business model, completing the R&D life cycle.
It's a very circular system. Okay, one last piece of the structure, sponsors. How do they fit into this, especially with something like the DocuCensus, ACS, DocuLeague?
The sponsorship model is built for quantifiable ROI. Docuplay plans to leverage partners like ZI Peaceprout, which is a database of U.S. sponsors, to drive these big civic engagement events.
Like the DocuCensus.
Like the DocuCensus. It's a DocuLeague covering almost 70,000 administrative units, country, state, county, all the way down. We're talking millions of little learning modules or DocuPieces.
And the sponsors get their logo on everything.
Their logo appears in a dedicated box on every single DocuPiece that gets played.
Right.
So the results are precisely quantifiable. They know exactly what their money is doing. It promotes their brand, sure, but it also gives them preferential access to contact the top-rated students. It's a very targeted recruitment and marketing tool that also looks like civic good.
This has been a very deep dive into a very complex blueprint. What really stands out to me is this fusion. It's high-tech power AI, 5G, 3D, but it's married to this powerful, almost old-school structural organization, DDC, SIC, GNIS.
And it's all built on that foundation of local collaboration through the techs, which are based on the simple ZIP code.
So if we bring this back to the big picture, for you, the listener, what's the ultimate goal?
For the individual learner, Docuplay's system is designed to, in theory, restore jobs and strengthen the middle class. The idea is to balance all this digitalization and automation with a huge boost in innovation and productivity. And critically, those continuous detailed activity records on every student. They're meant to be the best possible guarantee of employability because a company can see verified proof of mastery.
And the most profound implication here seems to be that localized empowerment. The idea that Docuplay could give almost anyone access to top-quality, three-faceted vocational training just by having a school and a company in their postal district.
It's a powerful vision.
It is. And it leaves us with a final thought to mull over. What does it actually mean for our communities when the ZIP codes something so mundane we write it on an envelope without a second thought, becomes the literal operational foundation for a global, multi-billion-dollar edu-industrial hybrid? That structural shift is a thought worth exploring long after this deep dive is complete.